for AFC South Trash Talk. They're pretty much a bunch of hillbillies, so either way. And we should be live in all the groups. And we should be live in all the groups. They're pretty much a bunch of hillbillies, so either way. And we should be live in all the groups. All right. And can one of you, well, actually, Austin, can you share that into the AFC South Trash Talk group, since that's the one that you like laying the smackdown in the most?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, and then Harish, can you share it the Horseshoe Mob?
Yep, I'll do it right now.
All right, cool. Thank you kindly, gentlemen.
Is it just sharing from Sam's post?
Yeah, you can share from Sam's post, or you can share from the AFC South Fan Battle post.
Okay, let me see.
All right, it's already shared in the Fan Battle Force Network. All right. So just wait for a few more people to jump on here, and then we'll be getting started.
How do I share this?
I think you might have to share from the AFC South Fan Battle page, because for some reason I tried to share from Sam's just now, and it wasn't allowing me to. But from the AFC South Fan Battle page, it'll share it automatically.
It's not giving me the option to. I can copy a link to it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And while we're talking about copying links, let me put it in all the Facebook groups. Not Facebook groups, Facebook Messenger. I have a feeling this is going to end up being an extremely petty episode. Like, really petty. Let's make sure we make it public. All right. So without further ado, I think we're getting people from different channels. So either way, we'll go ahead and make sure that we get started. And all right. So with that being said, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the best Colts podcast out there. And I'm not just saying that because, it's our podcast. I'm saying that because it is. All right. You got something to say about that? So what? Shut up. But either way, I come to you with a few gentlemen tonight. We have a slight change up. Prayers up for Josh and his family as they're dealing with some things health wise. So, like I said, praying for you. Definitely hope that you're back 100%. But in the meantime, we have an esteemed Colts fan, everybody's favorite person to want to kind of call or trying to get the whereabouts of, even though he gets 30-day bans for calling people Idaho vegetables. And I'm not going to say that because we could just get banned on Facebook forever. But either way, he's going to be in the place of one of our Jacks, we have with us, and like I said, we'll go ahead and make sure we go down the line, but we have with us very, very special guest, Harish Nukala, everybody.
Hello, hello. Thank you for letting me be in cahoots with the Jack podcast presented by HBO Hard Knocks.
Presented by HBO Hard Knocks and the CDC. All right.
CDC.
And we have with us, of course, the man known as Silent Assassin, the guy that you just can't count out because if you're a Titans fan and you make a stupid comment, he's gonna let you know. And honestly, it's just like that's why we love him the most. Okay, we have with us Austin Cook, everybody.
Yeah, I'm Austin Cook.
Thank you for that, Austin. Thank you.
Yeah.
We do appreciate that.
Verification confirmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, last but not least, just your normal, friendly neighborhood Colts fan that'll give people stats and then they proceed to tell me who their king is. I don't know about all that, but whatever. It's weird. But Chris Jackson, welcome, guys. How was everybody's weekend?
Good. Had a good Christmas. Went to go see the in-laws. It was a good time.
Nice, nice. Oh, you went to go see the in-laws. So how was
Yeah.
the food?
Oh, excellent. My in-laws are fantastic. Everything's
I love it. I love
awesome.
it. I love it. How about you, Austin?
Yeah, same. I had a good Christmas. Good weekend.
Okay,
Nice
good.
Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, well, it was a great Saturday, and had a good time with family. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and just get into the meat and potatoes. And I apologize for saying potatoes, Zuckerberg. Please don't ban us. But yeah, to the meat and potatoes of what it was. We saw the Colts go into this game, and we got some news. So early in the week, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly ruled out for the game. Oh, and Glowinski ruled out for the game. The entire interior of the line was out for the game. So we already had some guys that were not going to be playing on Saturday, and we knew that ahead of time. So we said, you know what, let's just be prepared. But then we get the news that Kari Willis and Darius Leonard would also then not be playing. I believe, was it the same day or was it the night before the game?
Yeah, it was literally within hours, right? It's like
Yeah,
2 or
within
3
hours,
hours
the same
before
day.
kickoff.
Yeah, same day. So it was same day. And I mean, it was really fairly quickly that, we received the news. So collectively, and I want to get you guys' perspective, what was the thought process, with just the news of the O lineman out? And then what was the news after finding out that, one of our best defenders or two of our best guys, at least from the secondary perspective, and then also the linebacking perspective, weren't going to be playing? And we'll start with we'll give you the floor, Harish, since you're coming on as the esteemed guest.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too worried about the interior linemen. Obviously, Quentin Nelson, important. Ryan Kelly, again, prayers up to him, important. And then on the other side, Glowinski, important. But, Chris Reed, previously filling in for Quentin Nelson, was really good.
Yeah.
He's played very, very solid. And on the other side, we had, I think it was Pryor that we played on the other side.
Pryor played right guard.
Yep. And Pryor played some tackle for us while Braden was out early in the year. And then Pinter, Pinter, probably the best backup center I've seen in the league. That dude's an animal, man.
Yeah.
And he's relieved Ryan Kelly like 3 or 4 times this year, and the dude just gets snap. It just doesn't feel like obviously with the backup center, you think you're gonna have these lapses and miss snaps and fumbles, and it just hasn't happened, and he's just mauling guys off the line. So I wasn't too worried about the interior linemen. And then we get into Darius. He's the leader of the defense. He's the heart and soul of the defense. EJ Speed, I thought it was a great opportunity for him, seeing a guy that's played well on special teams. So you really think for me, it wasn't more. It was less of like, man, I'm really worried, and more of like, that's the heart and soul of the defense, right?
Yeah.
And of course, in some ways, you still kind of miss it because we didn't. The first time all season, we didn't force a turnover, which kind of sucks to see that in. But I think the biggest piece missing was Kari. And that was the thing I was most worried about. And I think a couple times you noticed it, right? There was a play to AJ Green on the third down where Kyler's an excellent deep thrower, by the way. He's a guy that can throw the deep ball very well for his size. Very, very impressive on the deep ball. So I was kind of worried about that, but then I quickly remembered they have 40-year-old AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins. So wasn't too. I don't know, but from a name perspective, that many starters out. We'll talk about this when we get into the game, but I was really worried when Julian Davenport got into the game. I'll tell you that much.
I said that, and I hate Julian Davenport.
With the passion.
Yeah, but no, Austin, and we saw kind of how pivotal it was missing some of those guys. But I mean, for those people who stepped up, what did you see in terms of how they were able to kind of compensate, or how they were able to make sure that they weren't putting themselves in a terrible position, at least on offense and defense?
So on the offensive side, T.Y. Hilton had a big game, and we didn't have Zach Pascal, and then like he said, the offensive line, they really stepped up. I mean, even Davenport, he came in the game and he didn't have the mistakes we were seeing at the beginning of the year when he was playing, in my opinion. And on defense, he said EJC, and then I think Bobby is a great linebacker, or he's a good linebacker. So I wasn't like I understand Darius is the heart and soul of the defense, but I just thought we stood up Bobby. I was also worried about Willis being out, but George Odom stepped up, and he played really big in the safety position for us. And also wasn't worried because they didn't have D-Hop and so I think our backups did a great job stepping up when we needed them.
Okay, and one thing that I think we've I think overestimated or underestimated is the fact that Arizona defensively, I mean, Chandler Jones is a beast. Isaiah Simmons is a beast. Budda Baker, I mean, he's a guy that we saw. Yeah, he's a guy that we saw early in the year. I mean, he put Taylor Lewan on his butt. And I mean, when we look at who we have to play against, injuries or not, everybody was dealing with something in terms of who was missing, who was able to play. And the one thing that everybody's overlooking is the fact that we still had to play Kyler Murray. And I mean, he's been in the MVP conversation early in the season. Of course, he's dealt with injuries. There's been some things that might have kept him out of that, but we've seen exactly where we're going, or we've seen exactly what we were able to do against somebody who normally gives defenses headaches. So I mean, so that leads me to the first question: did the Colts play to expectation, or did they overperform? And we'll go with you, Austin, first.
So when we heard all these people being out, some Colts fans were questioning things, thinking we were going to lose. So in my opinion, we overperformed with our situation.
Yeah. What about you, Harif?
Yeah, no, I have to agree. Again, I didn't think we would lose until Julian Davenport got into the game. And a lot of Colts fans got onto me for this. And listen, I don't care. As soon as I was like, well, Devin Fisher gets hurt, Davenport's in the game. Yeah, this game's over because, we know what happened the first 4 weeks of the season. Carson Wentz was constantly on his behind, constantly getting hit, had no time to do anything, and had to basically play miracle worker for 4 weeks. And yeah, I thought we'd be fine until I saw Julian Davenport.
Yeah.
And I 100% thought we were going to lose. So huge prop. We talk about all these guys. Props to Matt Eberflus, man. again, just another guy that Colts Nation has ragged on all year for playing soft zones, and I'm guilty of it too, right? Frustration of the
Yeah,
moments. But dang, what an absolute monster of a game plan he put together.
yeah,
And you know what? Had it been for the injuries, I think Arizona would probably have only scored maybe 3 points. That's just how really well played out the game plan was. So huge kudos to Matt Eberflus. He's not going to be here next year because he's going to be a head coach somewhere.
yeah,
Just an absolute gem of a game plan.
yeah, yeah. I was guilty of ragging on Eberflus early in the season for what happened with Baltimore.
Yeah,
Um, some what happened in those games where it's just like, sir, what are you doing? Why are you giving away this? Like, why are we giving this game away on defense? Like putting people out of position when you know that that's literally exactly where they're going to go every single time. So, I mean, he absolutely has turned it around, and I think to that he's probably not going to be there next year. I mean, I think we can see him in somewhere like Minnesota, or we can see him somewhere like possibly even. Well, I don't know if the Giants are in the going to be in the market for a head coach, because I mean, this is another terrible season. But we're looking at you know him coming on at the right time. But even delving further into Eberflus, or more so the defense, how was how was the defense, even without Darius Leonard, able to kind of contain Kyler and keep him from doing Kyler things?
I mean, I think it really starts with the front four. I don't know if you noticed, but AQM was really good last week.
Yeah,
AQM had a couple rushes on Kyler. Kyler was able to get out a couple times, but I think that was probably AQM's best game of the year. And then I think it's just the focus of this team. The talent. It's not just about talent, right? It's just the ability that this coaching staff has, and we see it on CDC HBO every week, right? So we
yeah,
see we see it every week. There's just the way this coaching staff coaches in meeting rooms and film sessions and on the field. Like, I think the good thing about CDC HBO is that we really get a good look at what really good coaching staffs do, right? And I think it's interesting that the Colts were the pick to do in season this year, because normally when you do Hard Knocks, they pick the really shit teams,
yeah,
right?
mhm,
And this is not that, right? This is a team with excellent front office, excellent coaching staff. It just comes back to how well prepared this team is, not just from a player perspective, from just the coaching staff. So, and you're seeing the improvements at every level. So I think AQM is a guy to call out. I thought he had a fantastic game.
absolutely, and I'm there with you, because watching how they were able to kind of rebound is it was really actually refreshing to see that they decided that they were going to go the route of making sure that we don't try to overcompensate for Darius Leonard being missing. I mean, yeah, Kyler broke on one big run, but then for the rest of the day, we didn't see that. And I mean, you see that they were able to hold him to two fumbles. But in terms of the passing, because we know exactly who was missing, Austin, how were they able to really just contain the pass? Because I mean, Kyler Murray is just like, I mean, he threw for over 200 and he had a touchdown, but he wasn't really doing the spectacular things that we're used to seeing him do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with him about Muhammad. Great game. Also, Quiddy Pay got through the line several times. I saw him chasing Kyler, but
Yeah,
Kyler's so evasive. He got away about every time. Um, but it comes down to the coaching. I think he did really well. He knew he wasn't going to have out there, and he got the guys ready. Like Isaiah Rogers he's stepped up big time for us this year.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, George Odom at the safety position was big. We did more blitzes, I think on Saturday than we have the past games. And I mean, I like seeing different things thrown out there. So
Yeah.
I also like the fact that we're using my favorite guy on multiple spots on the defensive line, DeForest Buckner. He's being used at end. He's being used at D tackle. They use his versatility, and they're allowing him to come off the edge. They're allowing him to come in down the middle. They're moving him and strategically placing him in different spots. And we brought different, and Austin called it out, various blitzes, corner blitzes, random linebacker blitzes. I think we're starting to see a lot of that stuff, and I think the speed of this defense helps with that as well. And taking that speed and using it to our advantage. So,
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the game, you'll see that the person with the highest rushing stats was Kyler Murray. I mean, he had 4 rushes for about 74 yards, but I mean, one of those runs was that 52-yarder that went all the way,
Yep.
or almost all the way. So I mean, being able to contain him and contain the run, especially with Darius Leonard out, you know that you're going to you think that you're going to have to say, okay, we're going to give up a few, but I mean, other than the one that was given up on the ground, it's just like the ground game was almost pretty much ineffective.
Yep.
And then before we go into the next topic, I do want to say from Thomas Dildine, would you consider bringing in Rivers to be the QB coach? He wants to coach anyway, and that's how Reich started. So that's a loaded question. So I want to I want to yeah, both of you, yeah, just go ahead, go have at it with this one because I have mixed feelings on this one, but I'll say mine after you guys go.
I mean, I wouldn't mind bringing him in as a QB coach. I don't think he wants to do just because he wants to coach doesn't mean he wants to do it at the NFL level. I think that the thing with Rivers is I feel like the high school level is what works for him. It's only his first year, but he gets done in October, pretty much November. He doesn't have to go all the way to January. It's only a couple month dedication a year. You get spring. I think schedule-wise, I think the big thing for Phil is that he wants to be there for his kids.
Yeah.
All fucking 2,800 of them.
Yeah.
So.
All 47.
Yep. So I think from that perspective, maybe sometime down the road. I don't see it being an anytime soon kind of thing. Now, would I want him to be a QB coach for the Colts? I mean, sure, I guess. I mean, I have no problem with it. If that helps Carson Wentz understand how to get the ball out quicker, and some mechanical things, I think he could probably do some stuff in the off season with Phil. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. If I were to really truly pick a quarterback coach, though, I really want Peyton Manning. But and that's never going to happen.
Yeah,
so,
no, he's going straight to ownership. Like he's
yeah. I want Peyton Manning in a lot of places. I want him to be the QB coach. I want him to be the GM assistant, and I want him to be the commissioner of the league. So I want him in a lot of different places because he really could do anything.
He really can.
But yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I just don't think that's what Phil wants to do right now. But I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah. What about you, Austin? What do we think about potentially bringing back Phillip Rivers in a coaching position?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, if we asked him and he came, I'd be happy. But I don't think that's what he wants to do. Like he said, I think he's at where he wants to be as a high school coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's happy there. He gets more time with his kids, like he said.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, he's going to be a high school coach. If he gets the chance to coach all his kids, he'll be coaching until about 2040. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it might even be longer than that because, I mean, this guy, I mean, honestly, it's just like when he has kids, his wife must be Gizmo from Gremlins because I swear he's just pouring water on her and she's popping out like 6 at a time. There's no need to have all them kids. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, but then we also have from Thomas just I just think he could teach Wentz a few things, which yeah, I do believe so as well. And then well, Peyton would be the ideal QB coach, but still, yeah, that's probably not going to be a thing. But bringing in Philip Rivers in any type of capacity right now, as far as from a coaching perspective, I think it really doesn't hurt anything. I mean, he has he reads defenses in a way where having that type of expertise is going to be able to help out somebody like Carson Wentz immensely. Like we know that he can throw, we know that he can be elusive, but at the same time, I do feel like he does have trouble at times being able to truly read those defenses. And if he's able to read those defenses more effectively, then that's going to change what he's doing pre-snap. That's going to change exactly what he's doing instead of just checking out from a pass to a run. He's going into a pass where he's now seeing that a linebacker or a safety might drop back a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you've now exploited the defense and you've got an extra 15 yards as opposed to the 5 that you were going to get by going an underneath route or something to that extent. So I think ultimately you can make the case that doing something like that would be absolutely. I think it would be a fantastic move. And I mean, he loves the game, so we'll see. Might be a way to have him get a kid drafted, every year for the next 13 years. We'll, we'll see. We'll see. But we talked about this before, and we've seen this time and time again. We've seen this year. We've seen this last year. We've seen it the year that Luck's last year. We've seen that this team has started off absolutely horrendous. Let's not sugarcoat anything. Started off horrendous, and for some reason, towards the end of the year, we just come alive for some reason. And I think, well, there's a second part to this question, but is Indy a team that just gets hotter as the season goes on, or is this just like we just really don't know how to start seasons in September? And we'll start with Austin. I'll start with Austin on this.
I mean, it's hard to say that that's not what we are because it seems to happen about every year. The only year it didn't happen is when we had Jacoby Brissett right after Andrew Luck retired. We started off good and then ended bad.
Yeah.
So other than that year, we started slow and then got hot and made the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. We're just, I guess, learn as we go.
And so then the thing is, and then Harish, you can go ahead because I will. Well, so the second part of my question, I'll go ahead and elaborate on after you're done.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are that team, and I don't think that's by design, ironically enough. But I also do think it is kind of by design. Having 4 quarterbacks in 4 years doesn't help you at all.
No.
Especially when 2 of those years are through a pandemic.
Yeah.
I just, I'm really interested. Now, next year, if we start off slow, I'm going to be very, very curious because it'll be the first time Frank Reich has the same quarterback for 2 years in a row, which for a fifth year head coach at that point is insane. And it's taken you 5 years to have the same QB 2 years in a row. It's almost unheard of if you really think about it. No, I think some of it's by design. I think some of it's just by sheer bad luck of not being able to have any consistency at the most important position in football. I do think Flus and Reich do a lot of experimenting before the bye week.
Yeah.
And then they kind of put it together for that final playoff push. I don't particularly like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we don't get judged by what happens in week 6. We get judged on what happens in week 16, 17, 18, right? Yeah. Things that matter. So, yeah, no, I mean, I don't like it, but obviously it's working because it's almost like you do all this prep work. It's like practice is like 8 weeks every year for this thing, right?
Yeah.
Go out, you do some stuff, you try some things, and then you really start to put it together. As soon as they start to doubt you, that's when you'd be like, oh, wait, it's time to play football now.
Yeah.
right? It's almost like they know what they're doing. So I'd be more concerned seeing it moving forward, seeing that we have some consistency now and we have a really good roster. There are obviously some positions I want to address in the offseason, just to continue to build that depth. And, we have the luxury to do that. But no, I think some of it's planned and some of it is just bad luck at key positions.
Yeah. Okay. And then, how much do you think this has to do with outside interference?
Oh, you mean CDC HBO?
Yeah. How much do you
Oh yeah, dude.
think
It has 100% to do with it. The owner, the Doctor F, as well. He's a Colts fan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a Colts fan. The owner of HBO is actually best friends with Jim Irsay.
Oh,
The CEO. Yeah. It's really cool. So, so no, they're total cahoots. They actually wrote it down together. I actually have a text message that got leaked. Dear Jim, please suck for 6 weeks. Show airs November 17th, then miraculously start winning. Love, HBO CEO. I mean, it was all in the plan. It was the plan the whole time.
Yeah,
Don't be a good team for 8 weeks until we show up.
exactly.
That's
And you know what?
100% part of the plan.
It's absolutely insane. So, Austin, with that being said, another topic that I think we forgot to kind of gloss over, are the Colts conspiring with the NFL and the government?
I didn't want to say anything, but I think they are. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, there's no other reason that we're playing well now and not at the beginning of the year. And then, like, the CDC all of a sudden changes from 10 to 5 days when we're having all the problems. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a conspiracy theorist, but I saw this guy on YouTube. His name was Mr. Tinfoil Hat,
Oh
and
God.
they said that generally during the winter solstice, if the weather is a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler in certain regions around December, then what you can do is you can use your almanac and you can see exactly who's going to be on the mid-season HBO Hard Knocks, and that team is going to be the team that gets the breaks to end up going to the playoffs. Now, mind you, this guy also microwaves potatoes for 50 minutes at a time.
Nice. What a guy.
So take that with a grain of salt.
Sure.
But in all seriousness, you have to be a plumb idiot to think that a team, mind you, a small market team at that, a small market team like the Colts,
Literally,
with Carson Wentz, is going to go and they're going to say, "Hey, this is the year. This is the year that the Colts are going to do it because COVID, or because Carson, or because let's just draw names out of a hat." I mean, honestly, if we're being completely real, if we had a track record like the Lions, I'd say, okay, well, you know what? You might have some stake the claim over there. But with no major off-season losses, maybe other than Nico Autry, because I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, with no major losses, you add on to the roster, you create depth at O line, you create depth on the D line, which were two problem spots for years. And then on top of that, you're able to retain and develop younger guys. The fact that we're talking about this as a conspiracy theory with the CDC and Hard Knocks lets me know that there's a lot more inbreeding going on in Tennessee Titans fans' household than what I'm giving you credit for. Because I'll
And
tell
they're
you,
also very paranoid.
It's almost to the point where it's extremely weird. Like it's really weird to go through and just have this kind of mindset when, mind you, this is the same team that just had Ryan Tannehill throw 4 interceptions, and somehow all of a sudden he's somewhat throwing again and able to throw well again after he just threw on the Texans. Mind you, the Texans have been had surprisingly good defense, but let's be transparent. It's pretty freaking stupid.
Yes. And Titans Twitter, I've never seen. Well, actually, I have seen a fan base. But Titans Twitter was absolutely the biggest source of comedy
Yeah,
today. For a 3 hour span, it was literally the best. I'm off all week, so I don't really have much to do, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm on Twitter and I'm just like, oh wow, Carson is out for 10 days. Not shocking at all. Like, I'm not surprised by the news that he's out. We've been talking about it for
yeah,
months, right?
yeah.
I'm actually happy that it happens now versus it happening 2 weeks from now. So, hey, get it in. And I don't know if we want to talk about the guidelines because I think those are very interesting.
We have time. We can talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I think it was very interesting. So basically, it goes if you are asymptomatic, vaccinated or unvaccinated does not matter, and asymptomatic is anything that is a fever or below. So if you have no symptoms or just a fever,
Yeah,
you don't even have to test as long as you're asymptomatic. You only have to quarantine for 5 days. So basically, as long as you have a fever and you don't have that fever 5 days later, you're good.
yeah.
That's basically, and there's no testing, so it's basically an honor system.
Exactly. And
Very, very interesting how the CD. I will say this: I do think it is very interesting the extremes that the HBO CDC has gone through.
yeah, yeah.
Compared to the last,
Uh-oh, cutting out a little bit. Harish, you there? Okay. Well, while we're waiting for Harish to reconnect, I want to know, Austin, because you see the guidelines, we see exactly what's going on as far as this whole COVID situation. So, like I said, we'll wait for Harish to come back, but I do want to kind of touch on this. So, with the change to the CDC quarantine suggestions of CDC guidelines, will the Colts potentially be at full power for Sunday's pivotal game versus the Raiders?
I definitely think we'll get players back that we didn't think we would get back. I, I don't think we'll be full strength. I think we'll still be missing some, but I think like when we got all these names and we were thinking they're all gonna miss this Raiders game, but now they changed from 10 to 5. We'll definitely get some of those guys back.
Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. We're back.
hello, I actually
Okay.
worked on my power cable. And apparently, that's not something you should do.
All right. Well, glad to have you back.
Thank you.
So I think we touched on just some with the CDC, like with the guidelines changing, and I think that's just because we see that especially with how this is now, how the COVID Omarion variant is I'm going to say kind of not as I want to say not as severe necessarily, um, but we see exactly how it is with how like the CDC is doing it, and now they just recently did come to an agreement where now they only have to have the 5 days. So I mean, it's been agreed upon, it's been verified. So now, with that being the case, we just got the news of Carson today. So that means that we're looking at potentially having him back by, I think they said Saturday.
Saturday.
And Saturday is when we're looking at. So I mean, you know, of course, the paranoid fan base wants to say, "Oh yeah, Carson's going to be out." So, but what is? But the thing is, it's looking like he's going to be there. So I mean, with or without the diagnosis of him being there or not, would this have changed the outlook of this game versus the Raiders?
Oh, whether Carson would be there or not?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think it would have changed it from being 42-0 Colts to being like 18-15 Colts.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Significant change.
Yeah. So I mean, you
So,
don't think that your boy Ellinger can dot him up?
it's not that I don't think he can. I just look, Sam's great. I think Sam's really good. I just don't think he's also a rookie. Never started in the NFL. We obviously clearly saw how Ian Book did yesterday. Not very well. I think there's an adjustment, and starting you for the first time in college, even it's very different from starting your first time in the NFL.
Yeah.
And starting on Monday Night Football is completely different for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I think they would have probably changed the game plan a lot. Sam's a very good RPO guy, despite what people think. He's very good with the RPO. I think it would have just been a lot of control clock, less risk taking. With Carson, and it's not just Carson, right? Everybody. If you think about it, we basically have the potential to get everybody back.
Yeah.
And with that happening, I think that's where the blowout happens. The blowout, in my mind, doesn't happen because of Carson coming back. The blowout happens because everybody's coming back, including Ryan Kelly, who's expected to be back this week. I just don't think this Raiders team is very good. They've had their own ups and downs this year. It's been kind of crazy for them themselves. But I just don't think they're a very good football team. They've just kind of been up and down in my mind. And Derek Carr's just kind of carried the weight of the up and downness for them.
Yeah. There's no indictment to him. I think he's actually a pretty decent quarterback. It's just he's just been on a crap team that's had more scandals than they've had success.
Yeah.
So, and then in this case then, and well, as a matter of fact, before we go any further, we got more comments. And they said, I think when healthy, this team can run with anyone. We've proved that, but we lately have finished the games we didn't in the beginning of the season. Rams, Tampa, Titans, Baltimore, all games we had the lead going into the second half. I think healthy, we can win those games come playoffs. Question is, can we be a legitimate Super Bowl contender while being healthy? Me, I say absolutely. And then he said, yeah, that's a hoax, right? In reference to the CDC, HBO,
yes,
all major providers. And then it's just Titans fans actually believe that, which is hilarious because, they're podunk, but I didn't think that they were actually that podunk.
Yeah. Yes, they do. They actually believe these things. And I'm actually talking to a gentleman right now who is believing it as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. But then again, it's just I don't know exactly, how to address people who have mayonnaise and jelly sandwiches. Like it's pretty bad. But you can't change stupid or incest. So I mean, it's
Well, I mean, you can't change one of those. You have to want to choose to change it, though. And I don't think that fan base wants to. So.
Oh, the incest part.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Just want to make sure we're on the same page there because
I don't think you could change stupid for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that mayonnaise and jelly sandwich is a staple where they're from. So whatever they choose to do is completely on them. But finally, as we're wrapping up, predictions for Raiders at Colts. Who do we see having a big game? What do we see the score be? And then we'll go with Austin first.
I think Darius Leonard comes back, gets 2 turnovers, and we win 27-10.
27-10. Okay. All right. So now is that your score with or without without us being at full strength?
I think that's getting most of the guys back.
Okay. So let's just say if nobody on that list is able to come back this week, what do we see that score being then?
I'll go 17, still 10.
17-10. Okay. So the Raiders are going to be pretty paltry on offense. Okay. All right. Harish, what about you?
Um, at 100%, I think it's going to be like 42-10.
Okay.
I just think this team is on a roll right now. Adding this is kind of adding fuel to their fire. Being able to come back way earlier than expected.
Yep.
The whole, these guys again. These guys are fueled by doubts and fueled by, um, you know, the underdog role, if you will. I don't know if you guys noticed, but even after the Carson news, the Vegas spread never changed.
Yeah.
So one of two things there: either Vegas knew this was going to happen, and they were also in cahoots with the CDC and HBO, and they were in close contact with Jim Irsay,
Vegas, CDC, HBO, and the league. Okay.
which then in turn means they were going against their own team in their own city, or they just had a good feeling that they just know that their own hometown team is not very good,
Yeah.
and just in turmoil right now. Which I feel bad for the Raiders. Like I feel bad for Derek Carr, having to have to go through the whole John Gruden thing. Just again, these historic. I was talking to somebody the other day, or maybe I was reading something, and these historic franchises continue to stay archaic,
Yeah.
and they're slowly starting to lose their history. I think somebody was saying something like, you look at the team like the Raiders, and their fan base walks around and is like, that guy's not a dog. What does that really mean? Like that culture doesn't exist anymore for the Raiders, right?
No.
So they're trying to keep this mystery culture that doesn't exist anymore. Very archaic, and I don't know. It's just weird. So I mean, I guess let's just say we don't get Carson back, but we get everybody else back, because I guess Carson is going to be the biggest mystery. I mean, I think we still win pretty handily. Like I think Sam and everybody else back can win this game 21-10.
Okay. Okay.
I just don't think the Raiders are that good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say I believe only because we've seen what the Raiders have been able to do. We've seen it the last few years. We saw last year with literally the exact same roster. I mean, handled them mightily, and then this year, it's pretty much the same roster, just with more problems. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if we're seeing the Raiders at full strength, I'm gonna say 45-10. If we're not at full strength, let's just say if we have everybody but Carson, 31-10. If for some reason we don't have any of those guys, 20-10. I just don't believe in this Raiders team because I feel like they are light years behind where they should be.
Yeah,
And it sucks that they have to deal with this turmoil. It sucks that they have to deal with what they're dealing with. But at the same time, from an organizational standpoint, you got to be willing to just go ahead and weed out the BS. I mean, just imagine what would have happened if Grigson was still in Indy.
oof.
It'd be a dumpster fire. We would have the oldest roster in the league.
We'd probably have
It'd be pretty
Julio.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd probably have Julio with a bunch of other bums.
Yeah. I mean, Julio, sure. We'd probably have Frank.
Andrew Luck would have probably retired like 8 years ago
Yeah, he probably would have retired after.
after the first injury. Wait,
Yeah.
that guy's the GM? I'm done, man.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, we're done.
I'm
We're
done.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as the game goes this week, I do have very high hopes for it, and I mean, I think everybody understands the urgency, being that we absolutely need to win this game to make sure that we keep our spot.
Yep.
And I mean, if the Titans do drop this game to the Dolphins, this is just one piece to the puzzle that could potentially fall in our laps as long as we make sure that we handle our business.
Yeah. By the way, I do think the Titans lose to the Dolphins.
I think
Dolphins are
so.
playing pretty good.
Yeah, I think
That defense, I think that Miami defense is playing really well. Tua's finally playing, at a good enough level. And this Dolphins team is kind of in the same position they were in last year, where they basically had a chance to get in and they lost. So I feel like they've learned and grew from that.
Yeah,
Also, I just hope it does because it will just make life funnier. And I like it when life is fun.
exactly,
So
exactly. So yeah, so but other than that, guys, I think that's pretty much it, man. It's this is it's been fun. It's always fun. It's always fun talking to fellow Colts fans because I know that we generally have sense, and I think I'm married, Harish is married, Austin is getting married next year, and they're not our siblings or related by blood, and I think that makes things actually good because we don't then believe that the whole entire world is conspiring to make sure that a small market team wins the Super Bowl.
I still find that pretty funny. Yeah, because the entire league just loves Jim Irsay so much.
Yeah,
They
I
want to
mean,
make sure he wins the Super Bowl.
exactly. I mean, this they love this man. He's the greatest comeback story ever.
Yeah.
He's absolutely out here. I mean, he had a run in with the law, after drinking and being on certain things. And I mean, he was suspended, but then he came back and he fought it. And, you know, just for that, Dr. Fauci said, this is the team that we're going to make sure has the CDC mandates cut down from 10 days to 5 days in quarantine.
Man, yeah. Anyway, hey, good for us. I'm glad to get my team back. So
Yes.
um, I'm not complaining, to be honest.
Yeah. So you know what? As far as the games go, as far as everything goes, like I said, it's been a pleasure, fellas. Harish, thank you for coming in once again. Definitely want to send our prayers over to Josh and his
Yes,
family.
sir. Yep,
So this
absolutely.
way, yes, we absolutely are rooting for you guys. Hopefully, you get better soon. But other than that, make sure that you check out Prize Picks. They actually do have the app. Basically, it's just your pick'ems. You're able to, potentially win money based on the picks that you're making. Also, they're doing this great thing where if you um, use the code FBSN, they're actually matching you 100%. I think Harish has done it. I've done it. I'm not a big better, or not better, but I'm not a big wager guy. So, I put five up, but I was able to get five back. I'm fine with that. I don't want to get too crazy. So, either way, guys, that's been a pleasure. Everything has been exactly what we needed it to be. Um, Please, Harish, let them know where to find you. I know
You,
how to find you on social media, but let the people know.
you can find me on all of our groups: the Horseshoe Mob, AFC South Fan Battle, uh, OG and 2.0. And then you can also find me on Twitter and all social medias at the Uncle Gandhi.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that. And I always try to hold it together, even though I did say it earlier. Austin, how can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I am at Austin_Cook2, and Twitter is Cookie Austin 2.
I did it. I did it. I did it. Yes. Finally, I was actually able to hold it together. It only took about 19 weeks, but we're okay with that. All right. And so you can find me at CJ Colts fan. Remember, people, we're still running our contest. The first 100 people to follow the Twitter page, we're actually going to be doing a giveaway. We have five $20 Amazon gift cards that we're giving away. We're going to be doing a random drawing. So out of those first 100, going to be divided into five groups of 20. You'll be able to go ahead, do your drawing, and then boom, if you win, we got you. So yeah, so make sure that you subscribe to at YDKJAC podcast, and then also YDKJAC basketball, YDKJAC baseball. All right. So with that being said, guys, have a great night. Have a happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, same to you. Absolutely. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody. All right, Austin. Happy New Year's to you.
Yep,
All
Happy New
right.
Year to you all.
Right. And I refuse to do it on the AFC South Fan Battle podcast, which of course without them there would be no us. but I didn't do. But you know what? I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna be cheesy. See you guys in 2022. See you next year. All right. All right, guys. Hey, you have a great night and have a happy New Year, guys.
Yeah. See.
Later.